and I'm excited because we have a true Tennessee icon as our guest today.
Yeah, I'm excited for today's conversation.
Not many times we have somebody who's got a statewide designation, something named after them for their legacy.
Yeah.
So anyway, excited about it.
We want to hold that for just a second and let people stew a little bit.
Heck yeah.
He's had many roles and
retired at the pinnacle.
But we're glad he's here today and just wanted to reflect on, look back.
Yeah.
What was it like that day to be named after you?
Very humbling. I never thought anything like that. I was really thinking of the Florida Bass facility at Humboldt Head.
Oh, yeah.
They'll name that after me.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Florida Bass thing.
You played a big role in that.
Oh, man, huge, yeah.
Well, back in the day, Bill Reeves and I were talking about Florida Bass. So he said, yeah, let's try it. So we kind of developed a scheme for Tennessee, and it's worked.
Big time.
You got to go pick them up, didn't you? You got to work with them, hands-on.
Early days, yeah. And eventually, we figured out a way to fly down there. Texas was a pretty good supply. They filled their need. Then they had some fish left over. We'd fly down there and pick them up. We tried to get 200,000 fingerlings, as that was our goal. We had more fry than that.
A lot of fish food, I guess.
A lot of fish food.
And now we're growing our own.
Yeah.
Yes, which is amazing to me. I think they can get all the fish they need just at that one hatchery. They don't have to get them from other states anymore.
Yeah, that's saying something to you.
It really is.
Won't you take me back to Tennessee?
The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest info about hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. This year, we celebrate the men and women of the TWRA responsible for 75 years of wildlife conservation. Now make welcome your host, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Jason Harmon. I'm going to be your host today, and Mr. Don King is with me.
Yes, sir, Jason. And I'm excited because we have a true Tennessee icon as our guest today.
Yeah, I'm excited for today's conversation.
Not many times we have somebody who's got a statewide designation, something named after them for their legacy. Yeah. So anyway, excited about it.
We want to hold that for just a second. Kind of let people stew a little bit.
Heck yeah. Okay. Let's tell them about a radio station.
That sounds good.
And we're kind of going back to the home turf of this guest we've got today in Jackson, Tennessee, WNWS 1015. And you can hear us on the radio there Saturday mornings at 6. So get up early, tune us in on WNWS and maybe one of our other 30 radio stations across the state. So we appreciate our radio partners.
Definitely. Appreciate our radio partners, our TV partners, and thank you all for watching, for listening out there on the social channels and YouTube and Carbon TV and places like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, June is around the corner and Free Fishing Day will be here before you know it.
And you know what? It's now the Bobby Wilson Free Fishing Day.
It sure is.
It's out of the bag.
And Bobby is here with us today.
Yes, sir.
Bobby, thanks for being here, buddy.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Both.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're here with us today. Bobby has worked with the agency for a long time and since retired, but he's had many roles and many spots across the state.
Retired at the pinnacle, as executive director. So that was cool.
But we're glad he's here today and just wanted to reflect on Bobby Wilson Free Fishing Day and some of those events coming up and just look back today. So another bit of history going to come out today.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And to kind of kick things off, I've got a little thing here. I would like to just go ahead and blow this air horn.
No.
Just kidding. No, it would be way too loud. We'd blow the doors off our audio over there. Todd would have a fit. But anyway, this air horn reminds me of free fishing days that Bobby, you led locally here in Nashville for several years down at
to the Cumberland
Centennial Park, and then the Cumberland River.
We did it with the Cumberland River Compact years ago in partnership with them. Sure did. Those were fun times.
And that man, the crowds were great out there, and we started the morning, and you would start it with that air horn.
Yep.
Okay, we'd count them down, and then hit the air horn, and everybody would start fishing. So that some fun memories.
They sure are. Sure are. That was a lot of fun. Brings back a lot of good memories of the days. And kids got excited when they would catch a fish. Of course, we would stock it with catfish a day or two before, and they would catch those decent sized catfish.
Oh, yeah,
pound,
yeah.
pound and a half. So
Take home and cook them up kind of catfish. Yeah. Hey, speaking of memories, I got to take you back to Lake Graham.
okay.
You know, that was one of your first projects, right?
That was actually where I first started my full-time career with TWRA.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember walking out on the area overlooking the dam, where the Region 1 office is now.
Yes.
Stood and looked, and they were building the dam, and they were digging it out with bulldozers, and they were putting in the bentonite clay to keep it from leaking.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking out across there going, wow, that's huge.
Uh-huh.
That was where I first started.
And I think that's where I met you the first time, too. I think I was with Dave Woodward.
You sure were, yes.
We drove up and kind of surveying the situation and got to meet you. And so that was a fun memory.
Before you started working for
I know, yeah. That was back when I was just doing the radio spots, you know, as on a freelance basis. But
you were still a country music singer, right?
Yeah.
He was a star.
He was, yeah.
Getting to know people, you know, that was fun. And you know, as people like Bobby that I got to know over the years and made me realize, hey, this is a great outfit to work for. And, you know, once I got invited to interview for a full-time position, it was an easy decision to make. So
it's a lot of great employees.
They're
TWRA.
Yeah, continues to be for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't think we mentioned the date, but June 8th this year is the Free Fishing Day. So Bobby Wilson Free Fishing Day here in Tennessee is June 8th. And there's a lot of events out there on our website, gooutdoorstennessee.com. The event system there, just click on events. You can order it by kids events and scroll down. You'll see there's a lot there. So find an event near you. I don't know if there's one at Lake Graham this year, but there probably will be there. Or just go fish. If there's not an event, it's Free Fishing Day, so you can go anywhere.
Yes.
For free and enjoy that day. So, but I'm sure there'll be some events to take advantage of in that area too. But what was it like to be that event or that day to be named after you? What was that feeling like?
Very humbling, and had no idea anything like that would happen. I'm very honored by it, of course, and I never thought anything like that. I thought if I could get something named after me, I was really thinking of the Florida Bass facility at Humboldt Hatchery.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they'll name that after me. You know, Ed got a wildlife management area named after him, the headquarters.
Yeah.
But I didn't really want anything. I just was ready to retire, and I enjoyed my career. But it was such an honor to have the day named after me like that. I'm still can't get over it.
Celebrated every year.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and you brought up another topic that we wanted to get to today, and that's the Florida bass thing.
You played a big role in that.
Oh man, huge, yeah.
Well, back in the day, when I first started as assistant chief of fisheries, Bill Reeves and I, the chief, were talking about Florida bass, and he was from Alabama, so he said, "Yeah, let's try it." So, got on the internet and I got on the phone and talked to states that have tried it and what did they do and how do they do it, and we kind of developed a scheme for Tennessee, and it's worked. That was it's been a lot of fun too.
Big time. It's worked.
Yeah, and not me. It was many TWRA employees, fisheries guys, and we're involved with that.
Yeah.
So I don't take any credit for that. I just was pushing for my end up here at the office.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work going into that, and a lot of decision making, and studying the lakes and things like that. Is it going to work, kind of thing? But you got to go pick them up, didn't you? I mean, we've got some old videos we can look back on to make sure that's right. But you got to work with them. I mean, hands on.
Early days, yeah. And eventually, we figured out a way to fly down there.
Right.
TWRA plane when Barbara Schaefer was a pilot, and she would go to Texas. Believe it or not, Texas has Florida bass.
Okay. Yeah.
And we went to Florida too, but Texas was a pretty good supply for us. And we would give them some fish in exchange a lot of times, but they kind of gave us the dregs. I don't mean they gave us inferior fish.
Just leftovers.
Leftovers, yeah. They filled their need. Then they had some fish left over, and we'd fly down there and pick them up. But it was like, I don't know. We tried to get 200,000 fingerlings as it was our goal. We had more fry than that. But, of course, when you get the little fry, maybe 1 out of 10 of those will survive. So you try to get
a lot of fish food, I guess.
A lot of fish food, yeah.
And now we're growing our own.
Yeah.
Yes, which is amazing to me. I mean, it's the guys that handled that. I know Hunter Henley, and then, of course, David Roddy and everybody that was involved with TWRA with that. I remember Hunter Henley said that when they first hit the button to turn electricity on. It blew a transformer. So the electric company had to come out there and they go, "What's going on here?" And
That's at Humboldt,
they
right?
put it, at Humboldt. They put another one up and it blew both of them. So they had to figure something out. And those heaters that heat the water up almost instantaneously.
okay.
They had to keep that water warm to stimulate warmer water temperatures that time of year,
Gotcha.
which is like early April, as opposed to colder water normally in early April. So
And what an operation that is too at Humboldt.
it's impressive.
Man, they
They've
are so
learned.
efficient there.
They are. They really are. It's amazing. I've not been there in a couple of years to see it, but I don't think it's changed much. But their practices have changed, so they're able to get more fish. I think they can get all the fish they need just at that one hatchery. They don't have to get him from other states anymore.
Yeah, that's saying something too.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've touched on Lake Graham, kind of where you got your start, touched on Florida bass, but what's some other things throughout your career that stands out to you that you're like, man, that was a great accomplishment, or I really enjoyed working on those projects, or anything that stands out to you right now?
You know, a couple of things that I was involved with, I'm not taking credit for, but I was involved with were like the new, the Management of Small Lakes and Ponds brochure. The one we had was black and white and was pretty outdated, and a lot of guys worked on it. Mike Bramlett up in the Fisheries and I worked a lot on it, and worked with Tennessee Tech on somebody that knew something about laying out magazines the way they should look.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't know anything about fish, but they knew how to lay out a magazine outlet, and so we did that. And they're still using that same book today.
Yeah.
It's been about 20 years ago. That was pretty. Then the Master Angler or the Tennessee Angler Recognition Program, we got that going along with the first fish for the kids. And,
Yeah.
And
Those programs are still going strong. I think they're looking at adding some master levels and things like that.
probably are because
Yeah.
people are really going after them. I've caught two, by the way, two tarp fish.
There you go.
It was a smallmouth and a rock bass.
Yeah. And so those publications and the things that are happening in the agency that were new and coming up and growing those different programs.
Right.
And it's cool to see where they are today because of some of the work that you put into it.
Well, I mean, we all put in, but yes.
Yeah.
We also got the smallmouth bass as stated as the official sport fish of Tennessee. It was the largemouth bass.
Okay.
But Ron Fox, the former assistant director back in the day, had enough information to return the world record smallmouth to Dale Hollow Lake.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of background work on that and leg work, and was able to turn it over. The International Game Fish Association declared it the world record again. It was world record, then it got overturned because of some information that was supplied. But then Ron was able to prove that it was indeed a world record based on pictures taken before it got weighed in, this, that, and the other, and that was pretty neat. I got to visit Mr. D.L. Hayes, who caught the world record
Awesome.
a couple of times. Actually borrowed the actual fish for display purposes for about a month. And then when I found out how much it was worth, I was ready to get it back. Locked the door in my office. I had no idea it was worth that much.
Yeah.
But that was pretty neat. And then, of course, the smallmouth bass license plate was all about the same time. I think 2004, 2005, sometime like that. And so it was
that's
a
been
good smallmouth
successful.
time of year.
I see a lot of those around yet.
Yeah, I've got 3.
Yeah.
Well, Tennessee, we're smallmouth is king, right? That's what the license
Yep.
plate is.
Yep.
Yes.
That's cool. Well, we got to visit with the taxidermist who was, the person who was honored, just selected to make the copies, and then the only guy I think that can make the replicas of that fish, and that was a cool interview with him. And we have a few floating around the office here, but
Yes.
yeah, it's a pretty fish, and it's cool to know that the world record came out of Tennessee.
Yes. I could go on about that, but I'll leave it at that.
Well, and then we have the state record largemouth right there out of Chickamauga, and I know that was probably an exciting time for you when that happened.
In fact, that was one of the things that when Bill Reeves and I were talking about the need for Florida bass was because the state record at the time was 14 and a half pounds. And the state of Virginia, north of us, caught one that was 16 pounds, and it was a Florida bass or a hybrid. So, and I thought, well, good grief, they're north of us. And that kind of gave us impetus. We wanted to try to beat the old record of 14 and a half pounds. And we did. And Gabe King did that, as you know, and I think it was 2015.
Yeah.
February 13th,
Yeah.
I think, something like that. Anyway, that was real exciting.
Yeah.
And then I've heard since then that people have caught them, but they've released them because they didn't want to kill the fish. And I get it. I understand. They're true fishermen. They don't care about a record. They just want to catch big fish.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, that record may be broke again someday. Who knows? But that was cool for Gabe, and it was even cooler that I knew Gabe. Grew up in the same town, and that was
Oh yeah,
that was cool. But
He's a good guy.
yeah, he is. He is a great guy.
we've got him featured on the first episode of season 3 of Tennessee Outdoor Journal.
Perfect. Awesome.
So you might want to check that out too.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I guess we'll maybe jump into the being the director. So then you moved from Fisheries, you went from assistant to the chief, and then up into the director's office.
Yes, I was a deputy director for 5 years, and I got to work under Director Carter, and it was awesome. Learned a lot by working with him, and then when he announced his retirement, actually before he announced his retirement, I was already planning on retiring. About 5 years after I'd been, I was going to work as deputy director for 5 years and retire.
Yeah.
Well, then 5 years came around and Ed decided to retire. And I never really thought about being director. I just wanted to work for TWRA, and but the thought of being director sounded pretty. It sounded good, but also at the time we didn't really have, in my opinion, somebody that was ready to step in and take over as director. And I didn't really want to have to go outside to get another director.
Right.
I think that would just be for morale.
Yeah.
Would be bad. And so I felt like I was pretty well trained for it. And my goal was to work for maybe 5 years. But in the back of my mind, I was like, if I can make it 2 and get somebody else in line to come in and get them trained up, and then I could go ahead and retire. I feel good about it, and that's what happened. So Jason, of course, Maxton, as you know, is the director, and hired him as my deputy director when I became director. So I think he's doing a real good job.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our agency's moving in a positive direction. I mean, there's going to be some things here and there that maybe seems negative or get bad press about or something like that. But I mean, we're all working for the sportsmen of Tennessee to make fishing and hunting better.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I think
that should be our logo, our motto. We make hunting and fishing better, because we do. That's our goal. I mean, we have our biodiversity division, which protects the non-hunting animals. We have the boating division, but overall, I think people, when they look at us, it's about hunting and fishing, and our goal and what all of our employees try to do is make hunting and fishing better. They don't try to make it bad. They don't try to make it hard on everybody. They want to make it better.
Right. We're not out there to make it hard on you. Yeah.
Right.
More opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, because I'm going to say probably 98% of the people who work for this agency love to hunt and fish.
Sure. That's why they got into it.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or just love wildlife. I mean, they don't have to love to hunt and fish, Well, one thing that came up before we started the show was, I mean, COVID hit right in the middle of while you were director. That was a hurdle. Talk a little bit about how y'all worked through some of that stuff. I mean, like letting people go out, or should we let them go outdoors? Should we open boat ramps? Should we, what?
Yeah,
bit of that.
Yeah, that was some tough times. That was for everybody.
That was a huge decision. I mean, I think the Tennessee sporting public owe a lot to those who helped make that decision, and we hand that to you, Bobby, as being a big part of being able to keep the boat ramps open and the fishing piers open and things like that.
And Director Carter was a big part of that too.
Exactly.
Early on before he retired, and shout out to Governor Lee for also encouraging people to get outdoors and not closing everything down and shutting everything down, because otherwise that would have been a hurdle for us.
Yeah.
But yes, it was great. We more people got out, as you know, than ever, and more people bought hunting and fishing licenses than ever, and set records. Of course, everybody loved to get outdoors, and then discovered how great it was. And some people who hadn't been outdoors in a while stayed outdoors, even after COVID. So it was actually a good thing in the long run for us.
It was kind of reintroduce people to the love of the outdoors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, and since your retirement, you've been busy. You just keep on trucking. You've found a spot with Bill Dance Signature Lakes, and tell us about what that adventures look like.
That's been a lot of fun. I'm just part-time with the Department of Tourist Development. They called me right before I retired, and they said, "Hey, how would you feel about working on a part-time basis, helping us with this project?" And I said, "Heck yeah!" I mean, I was familiar with it from when I was working as a director, and even before that, it was a concept that the Fisheries division had back probably 15 years ago.
Yeah,
and it never got off the shelf. almost got off the shelf, but didn't. It happened to be like 2008 when the economy for Tennessee was terrible, and the state government couldn't help fund it at that time, and so it just put it on the shelf. But then when several people had approached the governor about, hey, we need to do something for Bill to honor his legacy, and Representative Ron Gant and the governor himself and several commissioners and other people, it just all came together like at the same time. And so it's been a great project. He's a great guy. I've known Bill for 30 years. So just to know him was an honor for me. I mean, I used to watch his shows, and when I first met him, I was like, man, I got to meet Bill Dad. I still think that every time I see him.
Yeah.
He's just a great guy. And but this project is really good. Of course, it's modeled after the Robert Trent Jones golf in Alabama. We'll have the Bill Dent Signature Lakes in Tennessee, but it's for fishing instead of golf.
Yeah.
And so we picked 18 lakes sites, and about 7 or 8, I can't remember the number now, I don't know why, but I think it's 7 smaller lakes will be managed intensively for fisheries. And we can do a lot more of the smaller lakes. We can change the dynamics of the fish population by habitat, by putting forage fish in, by feeding and things like that, and regulations. And the bigger lakes, the reservoirs, we're going to make Bill Dant's signature access areas. The lakes, we're going to continue to manage them like we have, but we'll make better boat ramps and better parking and better lighting and better
courtesy docks,
fishing piers, just all the gamut of it, and really nice looking. So people go, "Wow, this is awesome!"
Yeah.
And so I've been working with the folks at Tourist Development. Dennis Tumlin, by the way, I'll give a shout out to Dennis.
Yeah.
He's really working hard on.
He's a go-getter.
He's a go-getter, man, that guy, and he knows about fishing. He's a fisherman, and he did a lot for Ray County and Dayton, and to develop that county and that city.
Yeah.
Before he started working for Tourist Development and for fishing.
Right there around the Chickamauga, yeah.
Chickamauga, right?
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's great to see some, things moving along and some improvements happening on our smaller lakes, and then the access on the bigger lakes. And I think it's going well. I know the Bill Dance Big Bass Open, I believe it's called Giant Bass Open. That's going well. We've seen a lot of people enjoying those tournaments, and it's just great to see people out there fishing.
Yeah, I think the first test was at Chickamauga back in October, and it was okay. It was kind of I won't say a last minute announcement, but didn't have a lot of time to announce and advertise for it. But there was a decent number of people showing up. And then Pickwick was next, and they had a rainy weekend. It was terrible weather, but they did okay with the number of participants. And then after that, the last one they had was Douglas, but they had one at Dale Hollow before that. And it was the same kind of thing. Weather was bad, but they still had a lot of kids. Not just kids, but adults and kids. And then at Douglas, same thing. They had I think 378 people participate.
Wow.
And it's so cool to see the younger fishermen, the ones that are under 18 out there fishing. They outfish the adults a lot of times. They catch bigger fish sometimes. It's so neat to watch that.
Well, in the high school bass situation that's going on across the state, it's crazy.
I think we have more kids, high school fishing teams and participants in Tennessee than any other state.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's neat to see that style of tournament, how the younger folks can weigh in and not really compete against the older division, but it's neat to see how that dynamic works. And
they can't be pro. Participate.
It
can't be a pro. They can have to be amateurs or they could be a former pro. But they can but they go out and weigh their fish every hour, and there's a strategy there. They wait till 1 minute till the hour to weigh in, and they weigh them in, and if they have another fish in their boat a minute after, they'll weigh that fish in. So it's kind of cool to watch the strategy there.
That's cool. Yeah, well, go check that out. We'll throw the website up on the screen. I think it's giantbassopen.com, but it'll be on the screen there. You can go learn more about that.
Yeah,
that's a cool tournament. Well,
I know we have some plans, Jason, to get out and showcase some of these lakes, and we were just talking before the show started to Bobby about possibility of having him join us at Lake Graham, back where it all began for him and a lot of folks, right in the shadow of the Region 1 office down there. I think we'd
That'd be a fun
all we
show.
got to do is just pick out a date and
I twist my arm.
get down the end.
I have to go fishing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll let the cat out of the bag. We're going to try to highlight these lakes and show folks what they can catch and
Yeah.
maybe a few techniques. We'll let some cats out of the bag and highlight these areas. So I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, as we're wrapping up time here, Bobby, what have you been up to? How's retirement been to you? I know you've been working a little bit, but have you been fishing? Have you been hunting any? And what kind of, you got any stories for us in that realm?
Oh, gosh. No good stories.
Well, you said you've been fishing about once a
I
week.
try to go once a week. If I could go every day, I would, I think. But I turkey hunted a little bit, but just a very little. I'm getting to the point where I think I'd rather, if I'm going to get up early, I think I'd rather go fishing. But I still like to hunt, bow hunt, of course, a deer hunt, and rabbit hunting, squirrel and doves and all that. I mean, I do just about everything, the hunting part, but I still like to fish too. And it's been fun going fishing when I can.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite place around here?
Well, I've got a couple of private lakes.
I mean,
He's not going to give out his honey holes.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
But I like to river fish too, like the South Harpeth or Jones Creek or some of the other creek fishing, Buffalo River. I like to go there too. It's fun, just a different kind of fishing.
We should do that with you sometime. Do a little creek fishing episode.
Oh yeah.
Back when I first started, we were highlighting Free Fishing Day, and remember me and you went down on the banks down here. I guess it's 7 Mile Creek right out here outside the office, and Todd was running camera, and we did a little Free Fishing Day demo. We caught little fish out here in this creek. That was fun. Or I guess not a demo, but a promo for the event that year. And,
exactly.
But yeah, just creek fishing's fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
It's easy to get the kids out there too and enjoy that.
Right. And I have a granddaughter and a grandson, so I spend as much time as I can. The grandson lives in California.
Okay.
I don't get to see him, but the granddaughter lives not too far from here, and so I get to see her at least once a week, and that's been a blessing too.
Good. How old is she now?
She's not quite 2.
Okay.
She'll be 2 in June.
Yeah.
She's a mess.
That's great. They're fun.
It is. It's good. But it seems like, everybody always talks about that when they retire, they're busy all the time. And that's why I am. I'm just always doing something, and I hadn't been bored yet. I'm not sitting around going, gosh, I wish I hadn't retired.
Good.
Because it's just always something to do, always.
Yeah.
Something going on. And I've enjoyed that. I guess the best thing I enjoy about retiring is not have to set my alarm to get up in the morning. I do every once in a while, but not that much.
Probably only on fishing days.
Only on fishing days or babysitting days.
Yeah.
With my granddaughter. Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, one other thing I wanted to touch on was right before you retired. I think you had a pretty good muzzleloader hunt, right? Didn't you kill a decent deer with muzzleloader? So that's cool. Is that the last big deer you've had? Or?
Yeah, that's amazing. He scored 155 in the 8th, and it was in Davidson County.
Awesome.
And I was talking on the phone to my buddy, and all of a sudden I just put the phone in my pocket. He walked by, and I shot it, and I realized I was still my buddy. So I picked the phone back up, and he says, "Did you shoot one?" I go, "Yeah." And but I don't know if I hit it, so I found it. And I texted him. I showed a picture of it. He goes, "Biggest one I've ever killed." And he said, "You mean the biggest one we've ever killed?" Take credit for it.
He was on the line. Yeah.
Oh man! So he heard the whole thing go down.
He did.
Wow.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember that popped in my head. Some fun times in the outdoors, right?
Sure, heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great time. Great career too, by the way.
Yeah.
And Bobby, thanks again for your service and for stepping in and carrying the director role there for several years and, making that transition. We appreciate your efforts.
It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it every day. I never dreaded a day going to work. And it's hard. Not many people can say that. Y'all can say that, but not many people can say that. And it's been great. Been a great career. Yeah. Great life.
You don't hear much complaint from us either.
No. It's a great place to work. We love what we do. We're here for you guys out there listening and watching, making it better for you guys. So, thanks for tuning in. Remember, Bobby Wilson Free Fishing Day, June 8th this year. So go out there and have a good time. GoOutdoorsTennessee.com to find events near you. And I believe that'll wrap it up. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank y'all.
Thanks again.
It's been my pleasure. It's been great.
This is Tennessee Wildcast, and we'll see you next time.
Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Join us as we celebrate 75 years of conservation in our great state. You can invest in Tennessee's wildlife future by purchasing a license at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. That's GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.